All right, the MLB playoffs start today, so I have to fill out my bracket. I think a lot of people are counting out Detroit because they haven't been playing well lately, but Tarek Skubal's the game one starter, and Cleveland does not have anyone nearly that good. For that reason, I think Detroit moves on. Next up, Boston and New York, and this is going to be an incredible series, obviously. Again, Boston has a bit of an edge when it comes to the game one starter and Garrett Crochet. I think if they win that game, they probably take one of the next two, so I'm going to go with Boston to advance here, but it's really close. Which brings us to the second round where Detroit would play Seattle. And Seattle is one of the favorites for a reason. They have a really deep lineup. They have one of the best rotations in baseball, and their bullpen's pretty solid as well. And they'll be well rested going into the series, so Seattle has to take this one. The Blue Jays didn't have a great September, but they won the last 4 games of the season to get that bye, which they desperately needed. It's possible that both Bo Bichette and Chris Bassett will be back for this series. And just a lot of their guys, you can tell, are out of energy. So I think this bye will do wonders for this team. I think they get past Boston. Which brings us to the ALCS, where it would be Seattle against Toronto. And I mean, even as a big Blue Jays fan, I mean, Seattle is just better in basically every facet right now. They have to make it to the finals. Now we move on to the National League side, starting with Cincinnati versus the Dodgers. And don't count out the Reds here. They can pitch. But the Dodgers are hot right now, and when they're on, they're the best team in baseball. They have to move on here. Next up is the Padres and the Cubs. These teams are both pretty similar in quality, but the Cubs' rotation is one of the weakest in baseball. Combine that with a pretty good Padres lineup and a really, really good bullpen, I think the Padres move on here. Which brings us to the Dodgers and the Phillies, which would be an incredible series. Even without Zach Wheeler, the Phillies are one of the best pitching teams in the league right now. Although I have mixed feelings on their bullpen. That being said, the Phillies aren't great defensively, and like I mentioned, the Dodgers have been playing really well as of late. I think they move on. Next up is the Brewers and the Padres, and I've seen a lot of MLB analysts and influencers really disrespecting the Brewers here. They won 97 games this year, had the third best offense in baseball, a solid rotation, and an incredible bullpen, on top of being one of the best teams defensively and maybe the best base running team in the league. Literally, the only thing you can say against them is that they don't hit home runs. I got them moving on here. Which brings us to the Dodgers and the Brewers and the NLCS. And you know what? Call me a fool, but I really do believe this Brewers team. Again, with that bye, they're going to be well rested, and their bullpen is legit. Compound that with the fact that some Dodgers just haven't been playing that well this year, like movie bets, and I have to have the Brewers moving on. Which brings us to our World Series matchup, the Mariners and the Brewers. Even though I'm a Blue Jays fan, I would love to see this matchup because it would feel really fresh and both of these teams deserve to be there. But I do think the Mariners would take the cake here. They got a lot better at the trade deadline. Their lineup's a little bit deeper. I do think their rotation is better. And at the end of the day, we have seen how important it can be to hit home runs in the playoffs. And Andres Munoz is one of the best closers in baseball. All that being said, the Brewers will put up a good fight. I'm going to have the Mariners win in 6.